In this video, we're going to walk through how to install Anvil-app-server, and we're going to do it using a A2 hosting account. There are a ton of other hosts that offer VPS hosting. We're looking for unmanaged VPS. You'll see here at A2 hosting, they offer accounts starting at $5 a month. This demo is done on a Runway 4 account, costs $8 a month. When you get an account at A2, you'll get a client area where you can see your information. You can also choose to install an operating system. For this demo, we're operating on Ubuntu 20.04. So you can choose on any of these VPS hosts, really your operating system, and you get command line access through SSH. So SSH you can use in Windows, typing SSH at the command line, type in the user and the server address. Let's see, it's server.python. What we're going to use here, python.com. It'll ask you for your password. And actually, what we need to do for this server is connect to a particular port. So -P and port number, and type in your password. Although I'm going to choose to use an old program called Putty. You can get Putty for most of the operating systems, desktop operating systems, and it's just a little more old school, and it saves your passwords and things like that. So I prefer to use Putty. When you log in to SSH, it's just like you're at the command line of the server computer. These are all virtualized machines, but it's just like you're working at the command line of that computer. So you can install software, install libraries, do anything else that you could do as if you're sitting at the desktop of a PC with this operating system installed. And the first thing you have to do is some prerequisites. You have to update the system so that these pieces of software installed. I use Nano for text editor. SSH, it works nicely for simple little projects like this. tmux we're going to use to switch between sessions on the command line. Anvil requires OpenJDK 8 or above. We're also going to need Python pip and Python 3 venv. This little line and the one after it, these are used to enable us to set up HTTPS later. We won't do that in this video, but on Ubuntu, you need to just copy and paste all this in, and that'll set up the system the way you need it. There are some other ways you can install software, and you might choose to use a different version of JDK. It's a little beyond the scope of this tutorial, but you can look up tutorials about how to install that software on any version of Linux. Okay, so for the Anvil install, we're going to use tmux. What tmux does is it lets us switch between applications that are running in the console, so we can sort of almost as if you're on Windows, you can switch between different applications, but we get different command line sessions. So what we'll do here is go to our server and create a new session using tmux new /s. Give it a name. We'll call this demo 1. Okay, you'll see down here at the bottom, we're now running a tmux session, and we can switch out of that session by doing Control-B and D. We can list any sessions that are running, tmux ls. You can see we've got a number of things running here. I've got some bottle and flask apps running. I've got some Streamlit apps running. These are all running at the same time in different sessions and different console sessions on this one server. So to attach to that session that we just created, tmux a/t, and we called that demo 1. Okay, now we're back at that console. And first thing we need to do, let's create you can see I'm at the root folder here. We're going to make a folder call it demo 1, and then we're going to create a Python environment there. So Python 3, in Linux use Python 3 /mv and we want to put that in the demo1 folder. And then we'll switch into that demo1 folder. And to enable the Python session, we do source and bin/activate. And you'll see when you create a Python session, the session name appears on the command line in parentheses at the beginning of the command line. Okay, so that session just enables us to install Python libraries so they don't conflict with Python libraries that are installed in other environments. So we'll do pip install anvil-app-server. And I want to use a particular version here. You can use whatever version you want, but we're going to do that. There we go. Now that's being installed. I'll kind of cover all these. So we've done this. We switched into our directory, changed that directory, activated the Python environment, did the pip install of anvil-app-server. You can install any other Python libraries you're going to need. And then the next step is to go into our environment here in Anvil. I'm typically using the classic editor for Anvil. We can switch between editors here. So this is familiar. Call this app demo 1. And in the classic editor, what you do, move my little screen share here. What you do is view the history and then click on the clone with Git button. This gives you the Git command that will clone this app, this repository, to your machine. Git is typically installed by default in Ubuntu. We can run that here now. Go back to our command line and let's clean this up. If we run that now, when you're on SSH, typically a right click of the mouse will paste and we'll create this folder. You have to put in your password for your Anvil account. And now that repository has been cloned, the app has been copied here. And we can now run that app. So we do anvil-app-server. You have the app name, 2 dashes with the app option. And you want to use the name of the folder that was created. And you can change this folder at the command line if you want. You can clone that to any folder you want here. Just change the name when you run the git command. But we've downloaded this app into the demo1 folder. And the first time that you run anvil-app-server, for that version of anvil-app-server, it's going to download the Java binary, which includes the server and Postgres install and traffic reverse proxy that are embedded. And there we go, the very first time, if there are database rows, it will create them. And now we've got this running. Okay, and let's end the app. What you can do here is end it. By default, the anvil-app-server runs on port, I think it's 3030. Let's change that. So we're going to set the origin to, and for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to run it over HTTP, which is not encrypted, not secure. We'll cover how to do that later, just to show how to run all this. We're running this at server.python.com, and I want to set this to run at, say, port 4040. Origin, there we go. Okay, so now if we copy this, grab this, that app is now running. Careful not to end it. That app is now running on our hosted server. Ta-da, there is nothing in this app. So the next most common thing to do after installing is to update the app. So let's add a couple things here. We'll title in. Just add a button, say hello world. Okay, so we're making these changes in the IDE on the hosted Anvil servers. And we're going to update this code. Let's see. Okay, so if we run it in the Anvil IDE, you can see now we've got an app that does something. And what we're going to do is go back to the app running on our a2.com account. I'm going to press Control-C, and we're going to make some changes. So you can see we're now in our root folder on the account. We've installed Anvil into the demo1 lowercase folder, and within that folder we have the app copied into demo1 uppercase _1 folder. And what we want to do is switch into that folder, and I'm going to do a git fetch origin, and I'll copy the changes, and now we want to get merge origin to master, and now we've got a new version of that app. I'm going to go back up into the directory we run the app, and let's run app one more time. Second, there we go. Okay, so now we've got that app installed again at server.python.com. It's running on port 4040. Refresh it, and here's our new app with the changes that we made in the Anvil IDE on the hosted Anvil servers. Okay, so that covers a few of the basics: how to get an app downloaded onto your server, how to get the anvil-app-server installed and running, what to type at the command line to get it running on a particular port, and how to update the app with any changes. So that little bit is down here. And we'll do some more in the next video.